We bring in Sean Casey, MLB Network analyst. You can see him throughout the postseason on MLB Network, the studio shows, also MLB Tonight, and his Mayor's Office podcast. Great to see you again. How much of the game comes down to a gut feeling as opposed to the analytics? Because it feels like you can lean on analytics and blame analytics, but when it's a gut feeling, it's on you.
Yeah, what's up, Danny? I think there's definitely something to that. I think we go back to, a few years ago when Snell was cruising along for the Rays and then Cash comes and gets him because that's what the analytics say. And I think that was that first time we were all like, oh man, where's the gut feel here of kind of watching what you're seeing and going with that. I think the managers that are in these games, are allowed to go on gut feels. And you heard Aaron Boone say, I think that was a gut feel for him. He felt like there was some traffic on the bases with Fried in 4, 5, and 6. And he felt like, that was the right time. He was going to go to the pen there anyhow. So I feel like that was kind of a gut feel from Boone as opposed to the analytics. But, Danny, being in these meetings, being back in the clubhouse in 2023 with the Yankees and seeing these meetings of how, hey, if this matchup comes up, the analytics say here, those are on the table. But I do think as a manager in the postseason, the gut feel is part of it and, it has to come and play.
Managing differently in the postseason, do you manage differently, or is that let's fight the urge to manage differently?
Well, I think there's a little bit of managing differently in the postseason on a few fronts because there is no tomorrow sometimes, especially in these wild card series too. Like, what is it? 90% of the teams that have won game one have gone on to win the wild card series. So I think that, if a pitcher's in trouble early, you can't do what you might have done in the regular season to save the bullpen. You gotta get them out. You gotta get to the pen sooner. I think you're going to see more bunts and strategies in the postseason of getting the bunt down, putting pressure on, getting the guy over. So I think you do have to manage a little differently in the postseason because the stakes are a lot higher.
Of the 4 teams that lost yesterday, which one has the best chance to win their series?
I still think the Yankees have a great shot to win that series. I really believe that. I think they, when you run into Crochet and Chapman, for 7 2/3 and then 1 1/3. I mean, that's a tall order. They had Chapman on the ropes too in the 9th. Couldn't figure it out with bases loaded, no outs. But that's a tall order in game 1. I really feel like the Yankees have a really good team. I think they still have a chance to win that series.
What do you remember about your first playoff game?
Wow, this is a great point. I was just saying this last week on MLB Network. My first real kind of playoff game was game 163 with the Reds and the Mets when we had the play-in game. The playoff atmosphere was the first time I ever felt that, and I remember, Danny, like, it was an adrenaline and an energy I'd never felt. I'm a 25-year-old kid, and I remember thinking, I'm going to go win this game tonight. I'm going to really go take this game, right? It's the kind of that football mentality, which doesn't work in baseball. I end up going 0 for 4, 2 punch-outs, one of the worst games of my life, right? And I remember thinking to myself, as in the game of baseball and in life, failure's feedback, failure's information. I was like, man, how do I take the failure I got here, get me back to the postseason to experience it? And when I finally went back to the postseason in 2006, when I was with the Tigers, and I, led all hitters in hitting, and I hit 500 in the World Series. The only reason I say that is because what I learned when I was 25 years old about, trying my hardest and really being somebody different to, go get this game with the adrenaline of the postseason being on another level, it doesn't work. You got to be able to slow down. You got to be able to let the game come to you. And I think that's why you do see maybe a guy like Hunter Green last night. Maybe the adrenaline was a little too high. Maybe that cost his pitches to be up out over the plate more than they would be during the regular season, but you can't teach experience.
How do you pitch to Ohtani?
Oh, man, I tell you what, when he's locked in like this, he's very, very dangerous. I mean, for me, you got to be very careful. I mean, I'd like to say I'd like to say you go upper rail, but he's proven he can hit that better than anybody in the game now too. You got to really mix and match with him. I think you got to get him off the plate a little bit. You got to get him in, move his feet, and then you try and hit him with the kitchen sink.
Kershaw is, I think Ohtani's pitching maybe game 3, but we saw, Kershaw the second half of the season pitched unbelievable. What's it like, or was it like, to face a Clayton Kershaw?
Well, it's funny looking back at me. At my career, because that was my last spring training in 2008 was with the Red Sox. Scott, time flies, man. 17 years ago, and it was my third at bat at the game. We're in Vero Beach. Joe Torre's the manager with Larry Bowa, the bench coach. Tito's my manager with the Red Sox, and it's like my third at bat. I'm coming out of the game, so. On the mound pops a guy, I believe he was number 98 or 89. And I remember going to Dave Magadan, my hitting coach, going, hey, you got anything on this guy? He's like, nah, he goes through his notes, got nothing. So I go to Tito, hey, you got anything on this guy? He's like, just some rookie off the backfield. They're trying to get some work in. I'm like, oh, all right, that should be easy. Let me, so I'm Danny. I'm like, all right, let me take a look at the first pitch, see what he's got. Maybe set up my eyes. So I get in there, say hi to the catcher, look over. Torrey gives me a nod. I get in there. This big lefty's on the mound, number 98. So I set up, take a nice. I'm gonna take one. Wham! Hits me with like 98 outside black. I'm like, man. I'm like, this kid from the backfield is pretty good. This guy's got some pretty good stuff. So I look over at Joe Torre and Larry Bowa are now laughing because obviously they know this kid better than we know him on the Red Sox side. So next pitch, Danny, this guy hits me with a curveball. I swear to God, it was behind me. I total buck Tony's buckle. Tony's pizza. Whoa, and bam, he hits me with strike 2, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, this kid from the backfield is something special. It's unbelievable. Like. So next pitch, he hits me with like about 98 outside black. It's no doubt strike 3. Like I just got used and abused by this young 18-year-old kid at 98 from the backfield. They call it ball. They call it a ball just because I think the ump was like, hey, we can't ring up Sean Casey on 3 pitches from this guy, number 98 on the backfields. And Danny, he hits me next pitch. He hits me with that curveball again. I literally almost blew out my ACL. I was like, what? Bam, he hits me. And I look over, everyone's laughing. I come back to the dugout and I go to Tito. I go, man, you don't know who that guy is? He goes, no, I'm just glad I'm not you right now. I go, yeah, me too. It turns out that was Clayton Kershaw. I think I was his first big leaguer ever faced. And he made me look like a 4-year-old kid. So
Sean Casey, MLB Network analyst. You can see him on MLB's postseason coverage. And also check out his Mayor's Office podcast. I opened the show talking about it used to be you had to have a hammer or 2 in the postseason. And, we've seen teams that had those 2 great starters in a best of 5, best of 7. You're going to see them 4 times. Skubal is one of those guys. Crochet, we saw that performance there. Skeens isn't going to be in a playoff anytime soon. Verlander didn't make the playoffs, so you're starting to look around and go, how many of these hammers are out there? Yeah. And just the importance of them, certainly in a 3-game series.
Oh my gosh. Well, I look at the Dodgers and I go, okay, you got game 1 with Snell. You're going to get Yamamoto coming back game 2, and you got Ohtani game 3. That wasn't that rotation setting up all year. Snell was banged up. Yamamoto did well. Ohtani came back late. But they couldn't have timed Ohtani's, his ascending into that starter with his last couple starts. I now think that's a real 3-headed monster right there. You talk about hammers; these are guys that can absolutely control the game. Now the big thing with the Dodgers is can they go pretty long because the bullpen's, been a little banged up. But you're right. When you watch Skubal pitch yesterday and you watch Crochet, even Fried, kept him in the game with the Yankees. But these are guys that are like, you really got to be on your A game. You got to find a way to manufacture against these guys because if they're on, it's a tough go.
How much should it factor in that Cal Raleigh was the catcher on a pennant-winning team as far as the MVP goes with Aaron Judge?
It should definitely factor in. I mean, I think the biggest reason we're talking about Cal Raleigh, obviously, other than the 60 home runs, which is incredible, is that he's a catcher. Because at the end of the day, to be able to catch that many games, to handle the staff, the preparation pregame and what goes into that. We've never seen a catcher do it because, the legs that are under you start to go in the second half. The fact that he beat Mantl's, and he's also a switch hitter. He beat Mantl's 54 home runs as a switch hitter. Really historic stuff. So, I really think that Cal Raleigh, that's why he's in this conversation for MVP. That's why he might win it, is because he's a catcher.
Sounds like you're leaning towards Aaron Judge.
You know what? This is the one thing I think about the MVP race. In this generation, back when I was playing, guys would have incredible years, historic seasons, but Barry Bonds was in the league. And then, a few years ago, guys would have historic seasons, and look how amazing this is. Yeah, but Shohei Ohtani's in that league, in the American League. I feel that way with Aaron Judge. I mean, Aaron Judge won a batting title and hit over 50 home runs. Only Jimmy Fox and Mickey Mantle have ever done that. Historic stuff. He's one of 4 players to ever have 4 seasons of 50 homers. Historic stuff. He's hitting 330 in an age where no one's hitting 300. Is that like 370 a few years ago? Historic stuff. So, I look at Aaron Judge's numbers. His OPS is over 200, greater than Cal Raleigh. There's just so many things. His on-base percentage, what he does every day. And for me, Danny, I don't buy the whole average doesn't matter. You know what batting average shows me? It shows me you're showing up every day. It shows me I can trust you. It shows me you're hitting good pitching. It shows me you're hitting the closers and the number 1 starters. It shows me that you're winning ball games for my team. So I don't know. I just look at Aaron Judge. I just feel like Cal Raleigh had a historic year, but Aaron Judge exists in 2025, and he's a generational player that we've never seen, one that we've really never seen before. And for me, he's the MVP.
What's the coolest thing in your office?
Coolest thing in my office? I got a lot of cool things here in the office. I have a picture over there of Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio getting off a plane, and there's 2 signed checks. One of DiMaggio, he signed to a school in 1998, and the Marilyn Monroe check signed in 1953 for $1.50 to a friend of hers.
Are those sports Emmys the years that MLB Tonight beat my show? Yeah. Did you put those out? Those weren't out there prior. 20 minutes ago, they weren't out there.
Dude, I knew I was coming on. I was like, I want to make sure Danny knows I got the Emmys.
Damn you. That's like a bat flip there. Dang. Oh, one more thing. We were talking about great swings, pretty swings. Why is it a right-handed hitters we don't single out and go, boy, that guy's got one of the prettiest swings in the game. It's always going to be Junior, Rafael Palmeiro. I mean, it's always the left-handed hitter. Why is that?
Always the lefties. I don't know. It just looks a lot sweeter left-handed. The righties look like they're always grinding. Like, oh man, that looks weird, but boy, it's a good swing. Hunter Pence, oh man, but he's a really good player. You know what I mean?
Once again, this guy got thrown out from left field on a base hit.
That's right. And don't forget, there's 2 new members in that, Dylan Moore and Tommy Pham. Thank you guys for being in that club.
How many guys have gotten thrown out from left field at first base?
That's it. 3 of us now.
In the history of the game?
It was me forever, the history of the game, and then Tommy Pham this year and Dylan Moore. I'm keeping tabs. I'm keeping receipts on who's getting thrown out from left.
I love it.
Because I was in the exclusive club, Danny.
Damn them. Keep the energy. Great to talk to you, buddy.
Great seeing you, man. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks,
Sean Casey, MLB Network analyst. You can see him throughout the postseason on MLB Network studio shows and his podcast, The Mayor's Office.